So, I decided to do a draw my life video, but because this channel is not devoted to my life, but Wolfie's, this will be a draw my dog's life video instead. As I mentioned in a few of my comments, I adopted Wolfie when he was 4 years old, and he actually has had a pretty interesting life so far, with some ups and some downs, and I thought I would share his story. So, let's get started. Quick disclaimer, I am not an artist, so bear with me on the stick people drawings. Growing up, I had, and actually still have, a friend named Missy. She lived not too far from my house, and I used to go visit her all the time. In high school, she got a new chocolate lab puppy, and they named him Puck, like as in a hockey puck. Around the same time as Missy got her puppy, her neighbors that she babysat for got a Siberian Husky puppy with beautiful blue eyes that their daughter named Wolfie. They had a doghouse in their front yard that he had to live on all year. I remember that we used to go see him any time I went over to visit. She would bring him treats, take Puck over to play, and any time we took Puck to the beach or for a walk, I would go over and bring Wolfie with us. I remember he would get so excited as soon as he saw us walking over that he would be barking non-stop, pulling at the end of his chain. I thought he was a bit crazy, but he was super cute. I started to notice that Wolfie's family was getting bigger and bigger. They were having more kids, and they just didn't seem to have time for him like they used to. Their lives were getting busier and busier, and with their bigger family, they had to build an addition onto their house, and I just started to notice that they had even less time for him than they'd had before because their family was growing so much. I remember feeling really bad for him. It was around this time that I had a talk with my friend Missy. One day when I was over at her house, after thinking about it for a while, I told her I really wanted to adopt Wolfie. She talked to them about it, and they said yes. I was so excited. I remember I took him home, and the very first thing I did was give him a bath. Because, well, he was pretty dirty after living outside for that long. I remember going out, and I bought him a new leash, I bought him new toys, and I even got him a brand new, big, comfy bed. You could say that I spoiled him pretty well right from the start. One thing I was a little bit apprehensive about was the fact that we had two cats. They were used to dogs because I always had one growing up, and he had passed away a couple years before. The thing is, Wolfie had never really met cats before that, and we weren't sure how it was going to go. We made sure that Wolfie was only ever with the cats when we were around. He was never left alone with them, and he slept in my room with the door shut, but anytime we left, he had to stay outside on our deck. We built him a super doghouse, though. My dad's a carpenter, and Wolfie's doghouse was built to pretty much the same standards as my house, and he loved it. He was always sleeping in it when we came home. Something I noticed, too, when I was walking Wolfie, he had some pretty strong predatory instincts. If there was any kind of critter anywhere around us, he let me know. We always joked that if Wolfie ever got lost in the woods, he definitely wouldn't starve. Porcupines, mice, skunks, squirrels, birds, and I mean like the little tiny finches and chickadees, snakes, pheasants, you name it. We were really careful not to let him get loose, just in case anything ever happened. One day, I was out in my backyard with Wolfie. We had a tie-out that we attached to a tree and let Wolfie have a little bit of freedom in the yard. I was just playing with him when I had to run inside to quickly go to the bathroom. I figured he'd be fine for just a minute. Well, I was upstairs in the bathroom, and I remember hearing him start barking a lot. This was really unusual for him. Unless you had food he wanted, he never barked. I looked at the window, and I saw him pulling right at the end of his tie-out, and my neighbor's cat was lying on the ground just outside his reach. I ran down as fast as I could, but by the time I got there, it was too late. The cat didn't make it. I was distraught. My neighbor is practically family. She wasn't home at the time, so I had to wait all day for her to get home to tell her. I felt I owed it to her to tell her in person what had happened. That was by far the longest day of my life. When she got home, I went over and I told her what had happened. We were both really upset. She cried, and I cried. She wasn't mad at me, though, and she told me she forgave me and Wolfie, but it didn't make it any less hard. My family and I made the tough and emotional decision that we couldn't keep Wolfie after that. I called Missy, who spoke to the people I got Wolfie from, and they agreed to take him back. Missy came over to get him because I couldn't be the one to drive him back there. We felt it was the right thing to do for our neighbor, and because we couldn't trust him with our cats after that, I was pretty upset. I can't remember how long it was after that. A week, two, I'm not sure. But one day the phone rang and it was my neighbor. She said that she knew we were the best home for Wolfie and that I should go get him back. I was so excited. His previous owners agreed to give him back and I rushed to get him. Once he was home, I made sure to spend a lot of time working with him, training him with our two cats, who are Frank and Walter, by the way. He did really good and learned that even if the cats were mean to him, which we all know they sometimes are, he wasn't allowed to hurt them. He got the message and did really good. Over the years since then, Wolfie's actually 9 years old now. It's gotten to the point where we can let him off leash during the day in our yard, when we're with him, of course. I make sure to keep an eye out for other animals, but he's done amazing since then. The most recent event that happened to Wolfie was when we were at our trailer in the country. The way it's built is that his tie-out can't reach the deck when we're on the deck. So sometimes we unhook him so he can come up and be with us when we're hanging out. It was a couple weeks ago when we were there and we let him off to come up while we ate lunch. Then, a while later, my mom came out onto the deck and said, "Where's Wolfie?" My stomach just dropped. It had been an hour since lunch and none of us remember seeing him leave. At this point, I'm more worried about the animals around, like people's cats and dogs, than him not coming home, so we really needed to find him. We just started yelling and calling for him, but we didn't see a trace. I was really upset and worried that he might not come back. Now, for reference, our trailer's on a long dirt road that meets a bigger paved road behind it, and about 1.5 kilometers of woods separates the bigger paved road from our trailer. By the way, this is so not to scale. And across from our trailer is like miles of woods. It just goes forever. We had no idea which way he might have gone, so what my sister and I decided to do was just drive around to see if we could find him. We just did loops, going slow and calling for him, but after about 1.5 hours of driving and knocking on doors, we didn't see or hear any sign of him. We decided to do one more loop and call for him down at the bottom of the road. There was a little dirt parking lot that we pulled into park. We got out and started calling, and we actually heard him bark, 2 quick yaps. I got a general idea of where it came from, and we started running around in the woods, at this point thinking he got hit by a car and was in the ditch. Then I heard it again and got a better idea where it came from. Now, I remembered at this point that there's a water treatment place down the road that I noticed was open one time we went by and closed the next. I figured he must have got locked in there at some point. I ran down the road and came down to this tall chain link fence with a big gate. And of course, our luck, it's locked with a big padlock. Now, I do what anyone would do at this point. I hear him yapping, and I'm thinking that his collar got stuck on something because he's not coming when I'm calling him on this side, so I climb over. And I get in, only to find that he's not actually caught on anything, but more like in something. Turns out there's a building with kennels attached, and happily residing in one of them is my renegade dog. Great. Now, I do a little bit of surveying and notice that there's a gate at the end of the kennel, and it's unlocked. Now, I'm running on adrenaline from finding him, and I'm not really thinking clearly, so I let him out. He's mine anyway, so now I have another problem. I'm on one side of the locked gate with Wolfie, and I need to be on the other side where my sister's waiting with her truck. The fence is about 7 or 8 feet high, and I come to the realization that I can't lift Wolfie over, and there's nowhere for us to go under. I decided to do a little bit more investigating around the inside of this water treatment place to try and find an escape and figure out where there is an unlocked gate at the back corner of the fence. Woohoo! Perfect! Unfortunately, of course our luck, there is a jungle-like bush, tree, great wall of greenery that we have to bushwhack through. Takes us about 10 minutes, but we make it out and put Wolfie in the truck and start back to the trailer. Now, while we're driving back, we have a bit of time to think about what we just did. We decided we should really call the local municipal building to see about paying Wolfie's bail, since we practically helped him escape the pound. Turns out, the fine only ends up being about $10, and he's a free dog. They end up just laughing off our little jailbreak. Everything worked out in the end. So that pretty much covers the bigger life events that Wolfie and I have been through. He's such an amazing dog, and I'm so glad that everything worked out. He loves the cats now, and my neighbor is one of his favorite people because she always brings him treats. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up down at the bottom. If you want to see more Wolfie videos, please subscribe. And if you think you know any friends that would enjoy them, please share. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be posting more Wolfie videos really soon. Also, I had to cut out a few funny stories that I drew just to keep the video length down. If you want to see them, comment below and I'll make the video. Thanks! Bye!